Lizardlea here for another puzzle. So this... Hello, David's foot. I haven't done a puzzle in a while, and I found this at Target today. It's Night and Day Dragon Race into the Night. Like, get all the dragons! There's so many dragons! I love dragons, so yeah. Also, it gives me an excuse to listen to more of the book when it's too dark for me to cross stitch. So David's happy, right, honey?
Yes, more book. Book is good.
I feel like you should like reach out and like thumbs up because we'll be able to see that. There you go. Yeah, thumbs up approve. Thumbs up. Oh.
I'm kidding. It's okay.
Okay, so I'm gonna go puzzle now. I almost said cross stitch. This isn't cross stitch. This is making a puzzle, doing a puzzle.
You can cross stitch that pattern.
It would take a long time because there's a lot of detail.
Yeah. So you could though.
I want to do four heavenly beasts more.
Okay.
But when I have time to cross stitch, I'm doing the Christmas stuff because Christmas. I'm gonna go do a puzzle now. Okay, so what did we decide? WandaVision? WandaVision. We have now watched WandaVision.
We're now listening in WandaVision.
I liked how every episode had a new intro.
That's right. Yeah.
That was super fun.
Yeah.
Especially when I like recognized exactly what show they were like parodying the intro for. Loved it.
Yeah. So for anyone living in a cave, Marvel's doing a little well in the movie and show industry. So they've done spin-off shows now. And this one's about
Wanda and Vision.
Wanda and Vision, yes. One of which who is supposed to be dead, and one of which who has just come back from being snapped. And if none of that makes sense, you probably don't care that much about Marvel movies anyways.
And so we'll spoil the crap out of it.
Yeah.
If you care, though, you should totally see it. Because I didn't have it spoiled for me, and there was so much I didn't see coming that I did enjoy. And I feel like if I had it spoiled for me, I don't know if I would have enjoyed it as much.
Yeah, we can do a quick breakdown without spoilers first.
Yeah, as we do. But afterwards, there will be spoilers.
There will be spoilers, yes. So, the short of it is, it opens up with a Dick Van Dyke style
black and
white, opening where like Wanda is the main character living.
She's a cute little housewife.
Yes, cute little housewife in the 50s, I think is when Dick Van Dyke was. Yeah, because the next one's 50s. So, and her and Vision are living in a Dick Van Dyke episode, basically. And I didn't know that's what it was referencing for the first one. I was like, this is just sort of a genre throwback. But then at the end, you see what shows they picked. And so yeah, it's cute and it's fun, and they have a lot of fun with it. Like, you can tell that the people who are making these up, like as Liz mentioned, it's really cool because they do a unique era appropriate opening for each show. And so you get that kind of like, labor of love of like, oh, it's a stupid concept from that era, but also what if superpowers and silliness and weirdness.
And yeah, Wanda has her powers. Like, even in her cute little housewifiness, she can still move objects, and it's hilarious. At one point, she throws something out the door on accident, and it made me laugh really hard. It was great.
Yeah, no, it's very
hijinks
fun.
Ensued.
Yes, that's pretty much the main
gist of it.
Yeah. And then, of course, at some point, you figure out that, like, well, already this is weird, but there's other weirder stuff going on, and the key mystery becomes people who are not involved in this TV show trying to figure out what's going on. It's sort of a hard thing to talk about at all without spoiling.
Well, I mean, if we just would stick with the first episode, it's like they say their goodbye, and it like freeze frames on them, and then it zooms out, and you see that they're on a little television, and then you hear someone just say, what was it, like, "What's going on, Wanda? Why is this happening, Wanda?" And then it ends. So, like, you can see that in some way, shape, or form, they are on a television, on a TV show, in the television. And so, they have to figure out from there what's going on.
Yep. What was the initial catastrophe? Oh, right, because Vision works at a place.
Yes, there was a heart on the calendar, and both of them didn't want to admit that they didn't remember what it was for, and they both came to the conclusion that it was some kind of, like, anniversary for them. Vision goes to work, and, of course, you know, he's a robot, so he flies through his work, and everybody's like, wow, Vision, that's great! Sorry, I tried to call him Viz, but everybody calls him Vision. The only one who calls him Viz is Wanda. So I said Vision. It was weird. Vision.
You're weird.
Yeah, whatever. And then at some point, his boss comes over. He's like, hey, Vision, we're going to have dinner tonight, right? And Vision was like, oh, because his boss's name, his last name is Hart. So, you know, Mr. Hart. That's why they wrote a heart on the calendar. And he was like, oh, yeah, sir, we have a great dinner planned for you. And one of my favorite parts of the episode was the boss is like, good, because the last guy who did a bad job serving me dinner is gone now.
Yeah.
And this dude walks up behind him holding his box of stuff, and he's like, we had a 4-course meal, sir.
And the music was terrible. It was a live quartet. Like, yeah, just
yeah,
like, you know.
It was the dude obviously went all out, and it was not good enough. So then Vision's just like, oh, crap. But, you know, his wife has all these powers. She can get it figured out. It's fine.
But she spent the whole day
thinking it was an anniversary.
With her neighbor Agnes, planning fun times on anniversary.
And, like, by our standards, she was not wearing a sexy outfit, but by the 50s standards, she was.
Yeah.
So, when everybody came in and Wanda busts out, Vision's just like, what's going on? And then Wanda's like, this is the traditional clothing that my people wear when we have people over for dinner for the first time.
Yep.
Oh, no, I lied. I skipped it. At first, she walks up behind the boss and puts her hand, you know, from behind him, puts her hands over his eyes. She's like, you know, guess who? Oop, our food's here. And so, like, that was part of her tradition. And then another part of the tradition was what she was wearing. And then they, you know, like, they agreed she would change clothes or whatever. The boss's wife was Kitty from that 70s show.
Yeah.
Which was adorable, because I always liked Kitty.
Yeah, I think it's perfect for the show.
All right, shall we eat our food and then we'll come back?
Sure, we can eat our food.
Because it'll be annoying if we just do it on camera. I'm sorry. We'll be back. All right, we are back. So, what were we just talking about?
How,
they met.
Yeah.
She was awkward. She ended up trying to make food for them. Because originally it was just going to be, you know, like, romance time.
Yes.
And then it became, oh no, dinner time. And
of course she has no dinner prepared, and so she's trying to, you know, knock something up real quick, and Agnes has a suggestion that's, like, completely ridiculous. That's like, oh, don't worry, it's so easy. It's just a simple 6-course meal with... Yeah.
And of course, you know, so Wanda shoos Agnes out, and she starts trying to prepare everything at once. So everything is flying around. And that's when she chucks something out the window. And it was good. It was very funny. And, like, it's so crazy. And everybody keeps trying to get up to go and help her. And Vision is just like, no. Let her be. She, you know, let her do it on her own. Because if somebody walks in and sees her floating all of this stuff around, you know, it's going to be crazy. Eventually, the food is completed. They sit down to eat. And the boss starts choking. And Vision's just like, you know, what's going on? And then Wanda's like, oh no, Vision, do something. Vision, do something. And Vision's just standing there in awe, like, I don't know what to do. What's going on? And Kitty, his wife, across from him is just like, stop it, honey. Stop it. Yeah. Stop it right now. Like, it was super creepy, and it was really weird. Her character completely changed. And I think the boss fell out of his seat. He was choking so much. And then he popped up, totally fine. And he was like, oh, that was a great dinner, honey. Yeah. Think it's time for us to head out. And, like, it was total 180. It was, like, it was so strange. And then they just left. They opened the front door. And the lobster that Wanda had flung out the window was on the door. That made me giggle. So then Kitty was like, "Oh, what an adorable, door knocker." And then she knocks it a couple times.
As one would.
Mm-hmm. And we need to show that to Robert because, lobsters and all that.
Yes.
Mm-hmm. Look, you could frame a lobster on your door.
Yep, I'm sure he'd be thrilled to do that.
So they get back, they sit on the couch, and then it zooms out from there. And that's when you see them on a TV, and somebody's like, "Wanda, what's going on, Wanda?" Which, you learn later, happens a couple episodes later. It doesn't happen there. Or, oh, no, it does. They're just not on the right frequency or whatever.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Do you have anything to add? Do we want to talk about the next episode? Do we just want to skip ahead? What are we doing?
We can. I think this is probably where we have to start spoiling things, because, like, it's not... You just kind of can't otherwise. Like, there's no real way to talk about it. So, yeah.
I will say, everybody told me that the show doesn't really pick up until the third episode. So if you don't like the first or the second one, try really hard to watch the third, and then, if you like it, continue. If not, then drop it.
Yeah, that seems about right.
Yeah.
So moving into spoiler territory, turns out that Wanda has, I'm gonna sneeze.
Bless you.
Thank you.
The second episode's opening was, what was it, Bewitched? Or was it I Dream of Jeannie? Bewitched. And it was a little, black and white cartoon drawing of them. I loved it. That one was my favorite opening. Sorry, continue.
So yeah, the second one is basically you find out that what Wanda's done is, for some reason, she's pretty much enslaved this tiny town of like 3,000 people in New Jersey, named Westview. Yeah.
Westview,
yeah. So Westview, New Jersey, is just completely under Wanda's control, and she's mind controlling all these people. And you eventually, much later, find out that she somehow brought Vision back to life, and you're told it's because she stole his body and then used her. If you've never read the comics, the short version is she's the Scarlet Witch. Scarlet Witch is ridiculously freaking powerful.
She can alter reality.
Yeah,
like in one of the comics, she made everyone else a non-mutant, so she turned everybody else human.
One moment.
Ooh, blue dragon! I like it.
So
yeah, she is one of the most absolutely ridiculously powered beings ever.
Yeah.
Continue.
So she's started making the world how she maybe wants it.
But only in that town. She's not affecting anybody outside of the town.
Yeah, and so first the FBI finds out, and then they call SWORD. That's what I'm going to call Sword and Shield. Yeah, SWORD, which is this group from, basically it's founded by a character from Captain Marvel. What's her name? Rambo. Character you were about. Her mother was the founder. But
yeah. Okay, I got you now.
So
I was literally thinking Sylvester Stallone Rambo, and I was like, I do not recall Sylvester Stallone being in this show at all.
No, so yeah, no, it's weird in that regard, but no. So yeah, they basically kind of sort of maybe figure out that things are weird, what's going on, and then it becomes basically, so each episode is a different decade. So every episode it moves 10 years forward. So the first one was Dick Van Dyke in the 50s. So the next one is Bewitched in the 60s. The one after that is more, I don't know what the 70s one was. I know it was 70s though.
Yeah.
You can tell by how it is.
And the way they're dressed, their hair, everything.
Yeah.
I don't remember. Was it that 70s show? No. I know the 70s show wasn't filmed in the 70s, but...
No, absolutely
they didn't do one with the 70s show, did they? I know they did Malcolm in the Middle.
Yeah.
They did... What other ones did they do? The Brady Bunch? No. Full House. They did a Full House one.
Was it Full House?
Wasn't it?
I don't know. I never watched Full House.
Oh, I'm pretty sure. So, spoiler, eventually Wanda gets pregnant and they have kids. I'm pretty sure that one was the Full House one.
Okay.
Man, it's been a while since we watched it, and the openings were pretty short, so I could be remembering wrong.
How dare you?
I don't know. I can Google it. You can keep talking, though.
Oh, okay. But yeah, short version, it's just a different one each time. And in the meantime, you have this sword team with Darcy from Thor trying to figure out, like, what's going on here, how is this possible, why is everything on fire? Not literally on fire, but, you know, just like, how did she do this, why is she doing this, and can we do anything to stop it? And the answer is mostly no. But they do eventually figure out that Wanda didn't do it, so to speak. I think that's a fair way to put it. Like, she did part of it. So she basically got really, really sad, and you find out, you get more of her backstory. So, like, you see the bomb from, if you've watched the Avengers movies, like, the bomb that had Stark on it. And you find out that, like, basically she and her brother survived a bomb that, like, just sat there, but it killed her parents. It never detonated, but it crushed their house.
Yep. And
they sat there through this war, and she used to watch old sitcoms with her family.
And I have all of them in order. All right, so the first one was The Dick Van Dyke Show. The next one was I Love Lucy, which if I'd spent time, I probably would have recognized.
Sorry. Okay.
Mm-hmm. Then it was Bewitched.
Yeah, I forgot. I skipped it.
Then it was I Dream of Jeannie. So both of those were on there. So I think those two might have been together. They might have melded those two.
Yeah.
Next was The Brady Bunch. So I got that one. The Mary Tyler Moore Show, which I have never seen. So I don't know anything about it. Family Ties. Again, never seen. I know a few of the people in it, but Full House. I got that one. Growing Pains. Never seen it. And Malcolm in the Middle.
Yeah.
Oh, Modern Family. I've never seen it, so I never would have gotten that one. Oh, The Office. That one, where they were talking to the camera.
Oh, with the interviewing,
mm-hmm.
Yeah. I didn't see that as The Office, but I guess that's what it was. It was, well, then again, The Office started a lot more grounded, and I never really watched it. I've just seen the wacky...
Like, I think the idea isn't necessarily only that it's the opening, it's that the full episode
absolutely. Yeah, no, it's definitely, the entire episode is themed after whatever they're kind of working on.
Yeah.
So... Either way, stuff escalates as they do, and then you kind of get to this point where it turns out that one of the head good guys isn't a good guy. They really nail that in. It's not even like a secret.
Yeah, it was actually really sad to watch because he was just so evil that it was annoying.
It was
like
dumb
it wasn't
evil
believable.
Too, yeah.
Like, yeah, you never would have gotten this high up in Sword. Like you wouldn't have because you're so clearly evil.
And you wouldn't have. Yeah, and I'm not even sure if he's supposed to be like Hydra or if he's just incompetent, evil government contractor thing.
Yeah.
But yeah, like that whole arc of the show is weak. Darcy's fun, but she doesn't do much.
Yeah. They bring back Darcy, who was in the original Thor movie.
I did say that.
Yes. Oh, you did? I'm sorry. I kind of was
I know you're looking, these.
But she was the best character from Thor, so that was fun.
So
they underutilized her, and it was just...
She does the smart thing at the beginning, and then she does a couple of quip lines, but she doesn't really do a whole lot.
Yeah, exactly.
And then they have this Rambo person who is just so... cliche hero, like, you know, she's always going to do the right thing, she's always going to call everyone out, and she's always going to be right. And it's just like, I've enjoyed a lot of the Marvel stuff because they've been better about that, having more believable characters, and she felt just like total Mary Sue. Like, well, of course really you always have the right idea, of course you always sacrifice yourself, of course, like, Captain America at least gets made fun of for being like that in his own movies. So, like... This was
but also, that's America's ass.
Yeah, exactly. So, yeah, and then they just, that whole arc is weird. Jimmy, is it Jimmy? The FBI agent.
The Asian guy?
Yeah.
I loved him, but I don't remember. I don't remember anybody's names for the people that were outside of the town.
He's great
because they were so blah.
Yeah, well,
except for him,
yeah,
he was so much fun.
He's fun.
Oh, I can hotwire a car.
Yeah. He feels believable too. Like he feels.
They'll
like,
be here in under an hour. Like,
hey, could you guys make it in under an hour?
He was great.
Yeah.
Honestly, I would watch a show on him because
Yes.
he was so interesting.
Yeah, and that's.
But everybody else.
But I wouldn't take this all as like don't watch it, because at the same time, like the other half of the show is really fun because
I would say it's more than half of the show.
Well, yeah, it's the
with
majority
Wanda
of the
and
show.
Vision,
Like Wanda and Vision alone, both actors do a really good job.
Oh yeah.
Especially because they get to have fun playing all these different roles because they're playing different decade sitcoms. And so they really do a great job of like fitting the part and still putting a spin on it. Mm-hmm. And then on top of that, you have oh my god, the villain, who we both loved. So this is kind of the major spoiler. So again, if you haven't seen it, go watch it.
I called it as soon as we met this person.
Yeah, because you do that.
I do.
Actually, I do that more, but
I was right.
You were,
and that's all that matters.
Mm-hmm. Hey, I got. So there's two very fun moments. We'll start with one, which is I mentioned early on that it'd be really cool if they use this as an excuse to bring back Quicksilver, because a lot of people really like Quicksilver as a character, but they didn't really use him much in this. In fact, people like him better in his brief moments in like Days of Future Past than they did in the Marvel movie.
Absolutely.
And lo and behold, they brought back Quicksilver, except it's the Days of Future Past Quicksilver, not the Marvel movie actor. Mm-hmm. And I was like, oh, that's weird. And then in the show, they lampshade it and go, oh my god, they recast Pietro.
Yeah.
So
Darcy was like, she recast her brother? Like, it was so good.
Yeah. So it's really fun. And then it turns out that while Wanda is controlling everyone, one, she didn't steal Vision's body. She's just so good with magic that she
created it.
She recreated a Vision, basically.
Yep. And he was independent of her.
Yes.
Like, that was how crazy her powers are. That she created artificial intelligence, essentially.
Kind of. Well, she pulled...
He would go off and she wouldn't know where he was.
Well, no, I'm saying he wasn't... It's not that it was just her power. They kind of... They hand-wave it as... It's the Mind Stone, her memories of the Mind Stone, her interaction with the Mind Stone, her. So he legit is a different entity. He's not just her creation. He's a living entity, in a sense. And that plays into a big role because it turns out his actual body has been outside this entire time, and they're going to introduce it to Wanda's magic and bring him back to life to be an evil weapon. And lo and behold...
Well, not necessarily an evil weapon, but just a weapon.
Well, yeah, no, turns out to kill fake Vision. So, yeah. Or real fake Vision. Real fake Visions. Anyways, and then the villain, it actually turns out, is Agnes, the next door neighbor. Because if you've been into comics, which I did not get this one.
Yeah, I didn't know this one.
Her name is...
She's from the Fantastic Four, and I never read the Fantastic Four.
Well, it's funny because I just watched a video on the Fantastic Four, which was like 3 hours long, and why somebody loves them all. And it's a great video, and you should watch it. But I do believe it mentions her name is Agatha Harkness. Mm-hmm. And she's like this witch who's been alive since the Salem witch trials. And she's incredibly powerful. And basically, she shows up because what Wanda is doing... One, she identifies that Wanda's actually a witch, which Wanda doesn't know. She's like, oh, you're a witch. You're using witch powers, because she makes a giant hex. Ah, ha, ha, get it? Geometry jokes. So, and she goes, oh, you're a witch. And Wanda's like, no, I'm not. She's like, yes, you are. Shut up.
You're the Scarlet Witch.
Yeah, you're the Scarlet Witch.
You are chaos magic.
Yes, and we don't get a breakdown of what that is, but it's obviously a big setup. Because Agatha's there because she wants the Scarlet Witch's powers, because she can steal powers. That's her thing, it seems. And so she showed up and has been kind of playing along in the charade, even though she could control herself if she wanted to, because she wants to know how the heck she did this. She's like, how are you this powerful? And that leads her to the conclusion that, yeah, you're the Scarlet Witch.
Yep. She has the Necronomicon, or, the equivalent of the Necronomicon.
Yeah. The wannabe Necronomicon?
Yeah. Ash did it better. Continue.
Yeah, okay. So, yeah, it's a rather... She's just a fun character throughout the show.
Oh, yeah.
And her reveal is kind of hilarious, because they do her own little opening of each episode for, 3 seconds. Like the Agatha all along.
Oh, yeah. It was Agatha all along. That was great.
And I killed the dog.
That was good. Oh, my gosh.
Yeah, so they really... And she was a great actress. She nails her part.
Everybody was really good at acting. Some of the parts weren't good.
Yeah, to be fair, they're doing what they can with what was written. Like, I don't think any of the acting was bad. I think the writing was bad.
Yeah. Rambo was a great actress. I loved her when she was on screen. It's the character that is boring as heck. It was just like, oh yes, she's gonna go and have her DNA rewritten for the 3rd time, and it might kill her. But she has to go in because she cares about Wanda, and she wants to help Wanda. And it was just like, okay, like, why do you care that much?
And it's weird because they make it an origin story, basically, because she winds up with powers, and it's like, but it's not an interesting one. There's no depth, really. It's just the good guy being good, which, alright, fine. Which
I actually really liked how they handled Wanda, because they did make her a gray area. Because there's some times when characters, like Vision will tap them on the head, and they will become their original selves. And they'll be like, oh my god, like, what is Wanda doing to us? Can my child be friends with yours? Can he come out of his room, please? Can I just see him once a day? And they'll just cry, and oh, it is emotional. And so, Wanda is not the hero of this story.
No.
She is not the villain, but she is not the hero.
Yeah, they don't exactly handle it, but they don't hand wave it either. That while she is not the only, while everything is not her fault, there's another witch involved.
Some of it is.
And she didn't steal Vision's body, she did enslave 3,000 people in a fit of grief.
Mm-hmm.
Becoming, I believe, more when she expanded the barrier at one point.
Yep.
So, she was so grief-stricken she did this, but, they don't just downplay that as, oh, well, we forgive you because you're still a good guy. They're like, she legit flees at the end because, not flees, just leaves. Because I'm pretty sure she knows that, yeah, you're a threat now.
Yep.
You can't
You enslaved people for months.
Isn't it a week? Or 2 weeks?
I thought it was... Or
it
maybe
just felt
episode. Longer.
Yeah, it's 1 day per episode.
Really?
Yeah, I'm pretty sure. It's not months.
Well, I mean, even still, even just 5 days, you enslaved people.
5 days of people, yeah. The kids grew up real fast, but...
Oh, yeah, that was crazy.
Yeah.
It was fun, though.
Yeah, well, because you didn't have to deal with too many child actors.
Yeah, and that's always annoying.
And now I'm wondering if the point of the child actors was to, have them not be great child actors, because on sitcoms, they're not always great child actors, and so that's kind of, also a call-out to what they're doing.
Maybe.
I mean, they're not terrible, but, again, you're working... And they're dealing with really cliche plots, because it's, we found a puppy!
Those are the shows that she grew up on, so...
Yeah, puppy! Mm-hmm. What are we eating for dinner?
Now it's dead!
The puppy dies, so heads up. And...
You don't see it die, but...
Yeah.
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 I mean, you already established that Agnes killed it anyways, so you said, I killed the puppy! So... What else? I really liked when Agnes had Wanda in her basement, and she was like, oh yeah, when these runes are placed, the witch who placed them is the only one who can use her magic. And then when Wanda and her are fighting, Wanda's just throwing her powers everywhere. And sometimes she will hit Agatha, and sometimes she will hit the barrier she's created. And Wanda just looks so old and gnarly because she's using up all of her powers and all of her strength. And Agatha's laughing, and then she tries to use her magic, and she realizes she can't. And then Wanda looks at her, and she starts to get younger, and she starts getting her powers back, and then you see these gigantic runes on this barrier. And Wanda was just like, yeah, when you place these runes, no other witch can use her magic in them. And I laughed so hard. It was great. You caught on before it actually happened that was what she was doing.
Yeah.
And I was just like, I feel like she's just grief-stricken and she doesn't, I don't know. But no, she was plotting it all along. It was great. So, yeah, it was really good. I hated the scenes between Wanda's Vision and the white body of Vision. I hated that. Okay, I thought it was super stupid and contrived, but...
They try to go high concept, and it doesn't... It kind of makes sense for Vision as a character, but it doesn't work super well, because he's like, it's the ship of Theseus, or the axe, if you replace the head of the axe, and then you replace the shaft of the axe, what is the, do you still have the same axe? And that whole thing. It's a philosophical debate, and it just kind of doesn't go anywhere. But the weirdest thing to me is that basically, Wanda's Vision convinces Zombie Vision that he's the real Vision, and then he just
pieces it out of there.
Yeah, he's like, okay, cool, I've solved my life crisis. Bye. Like, I always wanted to go gamble in Vegas. I guess, I don't know, because
he leaves and you never see him again.
Yeah, like, it's just peace. I'm out. So it doesn't make a whole lot of sense. I don't know if that makes sense for his character, but
I don't know. I just like the scene when they were talking. They were literally spinning around in a room, and the camera was spinning as well. And I was just like, I'm gonna barf. Like, you'll have to tell me when they stop moving around, because I'm gonna puke. And so I was just listening, and I was like, yeah, no, this is so boring. So I don't know. Maybe it's less boring when you can actually watch it, but when you can't, because you're gonna be sick, it is not interesting at all. Because I was just like, really? Like, even if they reprogrammed the body of Vision to feel this way, I'm still just like, he's in Wanda's territory now. Like, I feel like she should just be able to hand wave in front of him and fix it. So it was like,
no, I'm okay with it being done that way, but it just
all of it. I didn't care at all. I was like, this is not anything at all that I am interested in. I want to see Wanda fighting another witch. I don't want to see two robots flying around in a circle, because that's what it was. They fought for a little while, and then they spun it around in a circle for like 5 minutes.
I respect that, given that there is a lot of superhero movies now, that they're willing to resolve certain things without having two people punch each other until they stop moving. Now,
I didn't even want to see the robots fighting. No, I didn't want to see the robots.
I know.
Like, I was not interested in that storyline.
They still had, I thought, a pretty good attempt at doing something different there, and I think it worked fine, but clearly you hate it. So.
Well, I mean, they were spinning in circles, so no matter what they talked about, I was pretty much gonna hate it, because I don't like to watch shows that make me sick. Like, that's why I will never watch the Blair Witch Project. Previews made me sick, you guys, so I can't even imagine watching the show.
Right. So...
And shaky cam and motion sickness. It's not good for me.
Right. So, yeah. Been there, done that, bought the t-shirt.
I liked the show. I don't plan on rewatching it, so there's no point in me buying a t-shirt.
Yes.
That's just my opinion, though.
So that's, I think, pretty much everything on WandaVision. Is there anything else you'd want to...
Nah, I think that covers it. Or at least as much as I can recall at the moment that I want to discuss.
Okay. Well, then the other show that you've been watching, which the last episode comes out tomorrow and has been renewed for seasons 2 and 3, would be Invincible.
Oh my god. You guys, I freaking love this show. We talked about The Boys, right?
I think so, yeah.
I'm pretty sure. So, The Boys is like Dark Justice League. You get all these superheroes, you make them evil, and yeah. Invincible takes that concept and makes it good. Like, I'm sorry. Okay, I liked The Boys when I watched it. I did. But watching Invincible now, I do not give a crap if they ever make another season for The Boys, because I would rather watch 3 more seasons of Invincible than a single one of The Boys.
So
I liked Invincible so much more. The characters pulled me in more. They were more interesting. They were more relatable. Yes. Sorry, continue.
Yeah, no, Invincible is definitely better written. And better. So the thing about Invincible
is... It is actually a cartoon, by the way.
Yes,
like, it's animated.
It's animated, and it's going to warn you before you start the show, because it doesn't appear that way, but it is violent.
Oh, yeah, there's blood and guts. It's, yeah.
I'd say just saying blood and guts is putting it low. Like, it is incredibly graphic, but to its credit, and this is why I think it's a good show, it's graphic when it
needs to be
sense. Yeah, there are many more opportunities for the show to be graphic, and it doesn't take them because it wouldn't fit the moment. Having everything be needlessly violent takes the shock out of the violent moments, and it's very much trying to play with the idea of sort of a two-tone system, because the main character is basically the son of that world's Superman. He's called Omni-Man, and he's coming into his powers, and because he's coming into his powers, he's going to start trying to, like, you know, do superhero stuff. So a lot of it is like classic Justice League, just with names you don't know. So, you know, you'll get a bunch of heroes together and they'll fight a kind of stupid villain, and you know, it's fun and it's really well done. And if that's all the show was, it's still well done enough that I would watch it.
Oh yeah.
And that's, I think, a big point in its favor, that it doesn't phone in the basics. It's still trying. I have to take.
Okay.
So we will come
return.
back.
All right, go.
So, as I was saying, they do a really good job making the normal plot parts of it good, because a big idea behind this seems to be that, like, oh, there's the life you know, but then there's how things really are. And it plays with that by making the life he knows kind of like a classic Justice League cartoon, like, you know, the 2000s era Justice League, and how things really are is the, like, oh god, things have gotten horribly violent and dangerous kind of out of nowhere. It's got a ridiculous cast. Omni-Man is voiced by J.K. Simmons.
His wife is voiced by, oh god. She was Christina in Grey's Anatomy.
Well, of course.
You wouldn't know, but a lot of other people... Grey's Anatomy is very popular.
Is it?
Know.
I hadn't heard. Mm-hmm. There's a couple of others I can't think of, but I can never get his name right. But Mashal Ali, or however you pronounce his name, but the guy from season 3 of True Detective, he voices the Rock guy.
He was cool.
He's great. Mm-hmm. Just like it's a really, and everyone gives a pretty good, like, everyone's doing a good job with it. It's not just like, oh, yay, you hired somebody because they have a name, but they're bad at this, you know?
Oh no, this show is amazing with their voice acting.
Yeah, I'd say for the most part. Well, like, so the two things about the show are there's the adults. So that would be Omni-Man, the other adult heroes, Cecil, who's the head of the secret government organization, Omni-Man's wife, people like that. And all of them and their stories are great. Mm-hmm. There's, like, the teen team, which is, like, literally the Teen Titans. And all of them and their stories and characters are great. Oh, yeah, the voice of Rafi is one of the characters. Yeah. Rafi from The League, if you know that. And then there's the high school drama, which is, like, his gay best friend and this girl he's dating and kind of one of the members of the teen team. That plot feels a little weak. Especially because most of it is Amber, and as you've mentioned, we're not a huge fan of Amber.
I hate Amber.
Yeah. So Amber is the girl he dates, and it's just
all she cares about is donating to charity and taking care of the homeless, which is normally something I would be really happy about.
But she is so freaking mean. Like, what's his name? Invincible will be late, and he won't, like, text her. Obviously, as an outside party, we know it's because he's a superhero. But personally, I'm just like, if David had done that to me, after 2 dates of him just not showing up and not telling me anything, I would have been like, okay, we're not, this isn't working out. But instead, she guilt trips him, and she tries, and I hate it. I hate it. I hate her so much. I don't quite see it as guilt tripping, but yeah, either way, the point is that it's not, I just think she's boring. Because she's like, oh, I'm always perfect. I'm always going to say... Yeah, she's a Mary Sue. Yeah, she's very much a Mary Sue. I think there's, like, no question on that. And
I didn't hate her at first.
Fair. Yeah, she
was cute at first.
And they pulled something...
And then they just made her mean.
Well, they pulled something in a recent episode that made her even worse, in my opinion.
Oh, absolutely.
That was just like, no, that's just stupid. It doesn't even make sense that she... knew that, air quotes. Mm-hmm. So why would you do this? You know,
exactly.
Like, it's just, it felt very dumb. But yeah, it's still whatever. So that's the weakest part. I guess getting into heavy spoilers. The first episode is a fairly standard episode where you see, like, their version of the Justice League fighting these Mauler twins. They're just 2 big blue guys who are attacking the president. And it's kind of introduced in the world. And Omni-Man's not part of it, but he does show up to help them. Mm-hmm. And they defeat the villains, and that's that. And at the halfway through the episode, Mark finally gets his powers, and the dad's kind of like, are you sure? And he starts training him. And it's a little weird. Like, you can tell the dad's not super thrilled about it.
Oh, yeah, not at all.
And at one point while he's training with him, he, like, really hurts the kid. And it's, like, a very weird scene. It's like he didn't want to, but he did, and it's all sort of awkward. And so then the credits play for, like, 3 seconds, and then it starts showing all the Justice League members, like, what are they called? Guardians of the Globe? Yeah. Mm-hmm. All their, like, personal backstories. So, you know, who they are out of costume and how they spend their time and little, like, caveats with them. It's like, oh, cool, getting to know them. And each one gets an alert and it, like, interrupts their life, you know, and they have to go...
Except for the Aquaman character.
Yeah, he was bored out of his mind. He was
so bored just sitting there on the throne. He gets the notification. He was like, yes, finally!
Yeah.
And it was so funny.
Yeah, and not only is that funny because of that, but literally the Flash character was talking to his girlfriend beforehand. She's like, you need to be nicer to him. He's probably bored and lonely. He's like, look, he's a fish king. He's got lots of fish friends. I'm sure he's fine. And then cut to the next scene, he's bored at the bottom of the ocean.
Has no friends.
Yeah. So it really has a good sense of humor. But then they all arrive at the Guardians of the Globe secret base place. Cave, yeah. And I'm not going to go into specifics, but Omni-Man brutally murders them.
Like, all of them.
All of them.
And it is brutal.
Yeah, that's a capital brutal. I was not in the right mental space when I first watched the episode, and I dropped the show because I was like, man, I'm not feeling this. I came back because it is really good, and I'm glad I did. But at the time, especially, they don't pull any punches. Mm-hmm. It's not just like, oh, that was quick and they're dead. It's like extra gross and bad, and like just, yeah, it is really heart-wrenching and
very graphic.
Very, very graphic. So, fair warning. But at the same time, it's also way out of left field. Like, what the hell just happened? Like, why did he do that? What's going on? What's his deal? You know, how is this the first episode, you know?
And then, so after he's killed them all, they beat him up pretty good. He passes out.
Yeah.
And then later on, you hear footsteps. They look around the cave, but you don't see anything, but you hear footsteps. And then a bunch of these people in uniform appear. Yeah. So you know they have like invisibility powers or something. And they start running around trying to grab all these bodies, and they pick up a guy named the Immortal, and they stick his head on something, and they're like, maybe we'll be able to bring him back. Because, his name is the Immortal. You learn later on. Spoilers or no spoilers?
I would save the spoilers for now.
Okay, then no spoilers. So... They get his head, they get his body, and they're just like, this person's dead, this person's dead. At one point, one of the girls takes her mask off, she pukes, and then she goes back to trying and collecting the bodies. Like, that's how bad it is, you guys.
Yeah.
And they find Omni-Man, and they're like, Omni-Man's alive! And so they think that, all of these people were all attacked. They don't realize at first that Omni-Man was the one who killed all of them.
Yeah. And so that's a huge portion of the plot is like why they don't realize it, what they're trying to figure out, how it's going, and all that stuff. So yeah, it's very interesting. And you see sort of like these other characters, so that's Omni-Man in a nutshell. His whole thing is this, like, why did you murder these people? What are you doing? What's really going on here? Mm-hmm. Mark's thing is just like, oh, I'm a teenager trying to balance my superhero life with my, like, very standard plot, like, with my, non-superhero life, plus dealing with the fact that his dad's kind of weird now, because he's just murdered a bunch of people and nobody knows.
Including his son, by the way.
Yeah, nobody knows. But basically, they, I'm just trying to think of a good way to put it. Okay, the other characters are also really interesting, though. Like, that's what's good about it, is it's not just one good plot. Mm-hmm. The other team that you meet, the teen team, you meet them in a fairly dire situation in the second episode, where, like, they're getting beat up by aliens who, it turns out, their time moves faster. So, like, a day here is like a year there or something like that.
Mm-hmm. I think it's even worse than that.
No, I don't think it's worse than that, but it's something like that.
I mean, they literally age enough to die in front of them.
Yeah, but it's
in
weird.
Hours.
Yeah, well...
Not even a day.
Yeah, but that's because... Never mind. Doesn't matter. So, point is, they do a good job introducing these other characters, because the most interesting one from that group is probably Robot, because he's a robot.
I love Robot.
And he's got his own machinations and plans and interestingness, and... It's just cool seeing how he kind of interacts with everybody, because it's clear he's got something else going on, but you don't quite know what. And then you eventually meet this other character who's just he's literally just beat up by Invincible the first time he meets him. But later on, you like get this whole backstory for like how he's living in the ghetto, trying to get out from under this other gangster, and blah 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 blah. And it turns out he's got his own plans and machinations, and it's all really really well set up and well written.
And it's in depth.
Yeah,
it's really depth. I like it.
And it's all to add. My understanding is that while they are following certain plot beats from the comics, they are shuffling things up and maybe even going to go off script. No one's really sure yet. They're definitely going out of order. So it's been interesting even for people who've read the comics because it's like, oh yeah, they're doing this differently or they're doing that differently or they're making sure that this is actually way more interesting. Like I hear that the relationship between Mark and Omni-Man is better in the show because they do a little more to build their father-son relationship. So you feel extra nervous about the whole dad's a psychopathic murderer maybe thing. So, and it's just like really, really, really well executed. I don't know like how else to say it. I guess we can go harder into spoilers from here because it's hard to talk about anything else.
Well, I mean, I was gonna just talk about Teen Team because I really like them because I love the Teen Titans.
Oh yeah, I haven't even mentioned Adam.
So Adam Eve was my favorite. She is the Starfire of the group. She can just create things. It's awesome. Like she reminds me not only of Starfire but of the girl from My Hero. What was her name? She could create things using as long as she had energy and she ate enough food.
Yeah, lipids and all that.
Yeah, like she reminds me of Starfire meets that girl.
Yeah, I can't remember.
Like that is, I feel like that is her exactly.
Yeah.
And it's super cool, and she's gorgeous. I love redheads. What can I say? And she's really fun. Duplicate is fun because she can duplicate herself. And it was in that fight with the people who age really, really quickly compared to, Earth. Every single time Duplicate gets like shot or killed, another one pops out.
Yeah, usually right just before because that's kind of the point.
Like instantly before. It's really cool. I love Robot. I don't know how to feel about the fact that I love Robot, but I love Robot. Who else is on the Teen Team?
There's Rexplosion.
Oh, I don't like him.
I
liked him at first, and he was fun. But then he cheated on the girl, and I hate cheaters, so I hate him.
Yeah, but what I liked is that he's actually deeper than I thought he would be, especially given his voice actor being known as the guy who plays the parts with the guy who's just completely ridiculously gross and inhumanly, like, awful. They've actually done some really clever things with him. And I think it's, I think knowing certain things that I know later in the plot, like, I've been very impressed with how they've even handled his character.
Yeah.
Like, they've made me care about him. He's still a jerk, like, obviously, but I am interested in this jerk for a variety of small reasons. And then, yeah, there's all sorts of just, like, they do the teen drama thing well. Like, the little teen get-togethers and who gets along with each other, and Monster Girl.
That's not Teen Team.
Yes.
No.
But it's the same group of people, basically.
But she's not.
But finally that one.
She is super interesting, though. Like, her power is she can literally turn into a monster. But every time she turns into a monster, she becomes, a week younger?
Mm-hmm.
And so she appears to be, like, 14, 15. But she's actually, like, 26. Like, she has transformed into this monster form so many times. She has become so much younger.
She looks like she's 15, I think.
I thought it was 14.
14, whatever, yeah. Yeah.
I mean, like, she looks very young.
Yeah.
But she's actually 26 or something. Like, she is an adult.
Yeah.
But she looks like a child. And so she used to be, like, Monster Lady or something like that. But eventually got to the point where they started calling her Monster Girl because she's a girl.
Yeah. And, like, they don't just go, oh, that's interesting. Like, they play with all that. And they're not, like, you can immediately think of a bunch of, oh, boy, I don't care to hear you be maudlin about this for 20 minutes, sort of, like, bad writing stuff. And they don't do that. They do it very well. Like, yes, she drops that, like, yes, this is a major curse for me, and it's a problem, and I'm not happy about it, and I would like to, like, not be this way, but they don't lay it on thick, you know, show don't tell, subtle storytelling, neat little things.
Well, and then I feel like for something that should only take 5 minutes, they only take 5 minutes. They don't extend this out.
Yeah, they don't drag things out.
Yeah.
They've got places to be, and they're willing to get there.
Exactly.
And yeah, they've got more than enough to do. And yeah, there's so much. You want to go into spoilers, I guess, or hard spoilers?
Well, one thing I wanted to mention was when Mark comes across his powers, he is throwing trash in the dumpster outside work.
Oh, yeah.
He tosses one, and it just goes into space, it looks like. And, like, 2-3 episodes
That's
later...
the next episode.
Is it the next episode?
Yeah. I'm pretty positive it is, yeah.
Okay. Well, later, in another episode, you meet up with this family in England, and they're talking, and then splat! There is trash and disgusting stuff everywhere. And I turned to David and I was like, oh my God, that was the trash that Mark threw. And you were like, oh, I didn't notice that the first time I watched. And it was so funny. Because you're like, oh yeah, he threw it from the US all the way to Europe.
Are you sure you got your powers? I threw my trash into space this evening, pretty sure. Like, yeah.
Okay, now we can do spoilers.
Yeah.
I mean, I guess that kind of was if we go past episode
whatever.
1.
That's
but...
no. So like, yeah, him murdering the entire Justice League is not considered a spoiler because it's so early on.
Yeah.
They have so much more that they have ready in their like wheelhouse. So the first thing is there's an investigation, of course, into who killed these people, and they like you start hearing them say like the secret government group run by this guy named Cecil who has a cool teleporter.
Oh yeah.
He's talking about how, like, we'll have to find out who, attacked them. And there's this demon detective who is the first one to be like, I don't think they were attacked. I think Omni-Man did it. Like,
Well, yeah, he has powers, and he could sense, like, he was, like, the only people in the room
Yeah.
were the ones that were killed and Omni-Man.
Yep.
He's like, no one else was there.
Yeah.
And then Omni-Man is like, well, you're wrong, because someone attacked me. The lights were out, and I couldn't see.
Yep. And the fun thing is that, like, especially in the first episode, you're like, okay, so how... Or the second episode, sorry. You're like, how could they possibly believe that something got the drop on Omni-Man, given how ridiculously powerful he is, and then he was the only one to survive, like something got scared off or what, like, it seems like a stretch for them to be that stupid, and what it turns out it is Cecil's trying to pretend he's that stupid, because he doesn't know if he can stop Omni-Man, like, He does not know what to do if this guy's actually the murderer, because what are you gonna do? He is ridiculously strong.
He is the Superman of the world.
You find out how ridiculously strong he is, because those dimension-traveling aliens with a different time, at the end of the episode, he wakes up, and like the beginning of the next episode, he goes to take care of them, or maybe I got that split, and it's all in one. But either way, he's fighting them, and he follows them into the portal, when they're retreating. And it's kind of funny, because the mom's like, oh, is that all? Because, like, I've never seen him hurt before. He's gone to other planets and other dimensions a bunch. He'll be back by the end of the week. It'll be fine. But I was worried when he was hurt,
Mm-hmm.
And he basically drops this line, like, Earth's not yours to conquer.
It's mine.
Yeah. And then, because he's already established that he's a Viltrumite, and that he is from another planet, and they go out and help other planets because they're so powerful. And then he wrecks the entire freaking planet. It takes place over a couple of years because their time is different from theirs. Like, his beard grows out, his hair grows out, and you just see him, like, annihilating this planet. Like, going at, like, multiple times the speed of sound to create giant shockwaves that rip across the entire planet and kill everybody, and
he just flies through things and destroys them.
Yeah, and just murdering tons and tons of people, just wholesale slaughter, and then eventually like holding a mountain above his head and having them open a portal for him so he can go through and drop the mountain on them behind him to like kill the last of them. Like just complete brutality.
It was awesome.
It was very well done as far as like let's show how strong this person is. And then, like, the rock guy later on, basically Invincible decides, oh, I'm going to help out this guy because he's down on his luck, and he's a good guy. He's a bad guy, but he's only a bad guy because his family's poor, and he's trying to help his family, and blah, 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 blah. And he helps, And first of all, they get wrecked because there's this guy named So like the enemy hires like some B-tier Spider-Man jobbers, and one of them's like Darkseid, is like the kind of equivalent power level. So he just wrecks shop, and it turns out the Rock guy planned all of this so he could usurp the guy he was working for.
Again, it was awesome.
Yeah, there's just so many good moments in the show, and those are just some of them. Like,
if you like action and brutality, this show is for you.
And if you can at least stomach those, it's still really good.
It really is. It's so good. And that's all.
Toga! That is the end of Night and Day. No, that's not what it's called.
That's the name of the puzzle company.
Dragon Race into the Night.
Oh,
There's so many dragons. There's so many.
There's a few, huh?
There's so many of them. I love it. My neck is really sore. I have worked on this on 4 separate days. 3? 3? I started over there. And then my second day was started there and moved to here. So that's still day 2. I don't know why I added a finger to that. I did another day here, and then today. 4? Was it 3? I don't know.
2?
No, it's minimum of 3, maximum of 4.
-1.
I finished book 1 of the Stormlight Archive by Brandon Sanderson.
I'm cold.
Toga. And what was I saying? Brandon Sanderson, yes, it was really good. I like many more characters now.
Gee.
And I've started the second book, and I am enjoying it. But I finished the puzzle, so I'm not going to tear it apart just to work on it again. That'd be stupid. Don't you dare!
See, I should have just hidden like 4 pieces.
I would have killed you.
But you would have listened to more of the book.
No, I wouldn't have. Because when I'm running around trying to find something, I can't listen.
So I need to mix 2 puzzles together.
Oh, God, don't do that to me.
People enjoy that.
No.
You probably might.
No, I wouldn't.
You could.
No.
Mix like 3 different white
Have
puzzles
you met
together.
me?
Just solid white.
Have you met me? Are you a pod person?
I have no answer to that.
He didn't say no.
You haven't seen those movies. You can't use that line.
I can say that.
No, you have to watch the movies first. Oh, you watched a movie, didn't you?
I watched Whiplash, so we'll talk about that.
I like it.
It gave me so much anxiety, you guys.
That sounds about right.
So much anxiety.
Hmm.
I'm really tired. My neck hurts. I can't read what time.
6:20.
6:20.
And you're squinting at
No,
me.
I was literally blinking really hard because I was like,
just hard blinking
I
at
can't
me.
see anything. Like 6:19 is what my laptop says.
I found that opening my eyes helps me see things.
You still have a blanket wrapped around you. I have the moral high ground here.
I don't think it's the moral high ground.
Feels like it is.
I just don't really care how I look.
I think you're gorgeous, so it doesn't matter.
Okay, love you too.
Love you more.
No.
Mm-hmm. Do you want to do my sign off?
No.
Do you want to try it?
No.
Why not?
Because I'm wearing a blanket and I'm comfy.
You're going to stand up in like a minute anyways.
I might sleep here. You don't know.
You won't sleep here.
You don't know
I
that.
call your bluff. $100, you will not sleep here tonight. I'll just leave it recording. Like, subscribe, share, comment, all of that jazz. And I'll see you guys in the next video. What was that? The timing was off! If you're gonna do it, you have to do it with me!
Gonna stop it? Or
No, because you're not sleeping here. I was right. Look at that. You got up. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Okay, I'll stop it now.